Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pitatvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakhatvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are looking at the 7 stages in the evolution or in the self-realization that were discussed in the Panchadasi of the 7th chapter by Vidyaranya. Also mentioned that it discussed 7 stages in the Yoga Vasishta and also in the Vichara Sagara. So the first stage is the Ajnanam, and recognition of the Ajnanam becomes a spiritual growth. The second stage is Avaranam. In that there are 2 types of ornaments: Avaranam of the world and Avaranam of the Brahman, you can say, and Avarana of the self. And Avarana of the Brahman is Brahma Astiva Nastiva. Is there really God? That's who created that. So we are not looking at the world, but the cause for the world. And that is being covered because I cannot see. All I can see is only objective world. I don't see God. So every scientist will ask, there is no God because I don't see. If there is God, prove it to me. So he is looking at another object in the universe as a God. But if any object in the world, he cannot be God. Number one, because he gets limited by the universe, because if he is spatially located, then he is limited by the space, and therefore he cannot be God. And therefore it cannot be a particular location that you can say for me to prove that there is a God there. And at the same time, and it should be infinite, because the creation is infinite, so it cannot be inside the creation or it cannot be outside the creation, and therefore it cannot be perceptually or objectively proved. Because it's not an object, therefore. And this way Krishna says, Maya tadamidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. In unmanifested form, I pervade the entire universe. What about the pratyaksham? People say, I have seen Lord, I have seen Krishna. You can invoke through the upasana or meditation in the process of a particular form, and Lord can take a particular form and appear to you. And once he appears, he says, I am not this form. He has to teach again that don't go carried away by a form. Not that I have been worshiping is God. So if God has to come in a particular form, which he can come and I can see, and when I am seeing it, obviously I am only seeing it, and I am talking to him and I can listen to him, but all other people will be wondering whether I have gone mad, because they can hear my voice but not God's voice. They cannot hear only God's because they are not bhaktas. So therefore they think that I am talking to myself. Nowadays it is not a big problem, because everybody is talking to themselves, because they have some cell phone, they are talking, and you only hear noise from one side because you don't hear from the other side. Therefore God can be talking through his cell phone and you won't know also. But essentially you see a lot of people talking of themselves, and you are wondering why they become crazy. This has become fashion now. Everybody talking so loudly sometimes and disturbing everybody else in the process. But anyway, so the existence of the God is not in any particular form. So I cannot use objective tools for it. So for that I need only a scriptural teaching that points out in the direction, and Vedanta only pointing there is Brahman, Asti. So how do I know? For that I had to study the Vedanta. So why should I believe in Vedanta? Don't believe, then you have to keep searching for it. It's only a science where I have to understand what it is, and this understanding comes only when I have a faith, because it cannot be seen or cannot be logically deduced, because the logic itself is validated by Pratyaksha Pramana only, and therefore Pratyaksha Pramana becomes a Prabala Pramana, but it's not valid for to see that which is subtle, and even I cannot see the mind, I cannot see the thought, I cannot see the consciousness. And just because I cannot see, don't say it's not, thought is not there. Even the fellow who denies the God is himself thinking, using the thinking on process only, without knowing what exactly thought is. So all these things are confusion, because one is not able to use proper means of knowledge to discover. So the avarana that we talked about, not only the Jagat, but the covering of the Jagat, what is the cause for it? Is there a creator? Is there Ishvara? And which I cannot see. And what is the cause? And what is the material cause for the creation? Because my perception is only gathering the attributive knowledge, but not the substantive knowledge. What is the substance of the universe? How did matter came from, and what is sustaining? All that is to be understood essentially. And that avarana is, the first avarana is about the existence of something, the Brahman or Brahmanasti or Ishvara, who is the creator of that. That is the first one. And inquiry into that nature becomes is, why do I need to know? Because I am depending on something other than myself for my happiness. That is a fundamental problem. Otherwise, I don't need all these things. Because I depend on something other than myself, because from day in and every day for everything, I have to depend on so many things, including if I want to eat something, I need some vegetables. And where do I get vegetables? Oh, go to the store and get the vegetables. But where the store will get the vegetables? So they have to go to ultimately a farmer, and farmer, it depends on the farmer to make, to till the land and so on, and he has to pray and until he gets the vegetables and sell it. All these beings have to depend on so many things all over the world. Unless I am in a forest, even forest also I depend on the fruits and all that, and I still depend on something giving me fruits, otherwise I will die, right? So therefore my dependence on the things beyond me is so much that question comes into picture. Says if they are there I am happy, if not there I am not happy. So the origin for that becomes important, to know what is the source of this everything else, the whole universe itself. And the whole universe itself, because it's an endless universe, infinite. More we discover galaxies, and galaxies are coming. Each galaxy is like a dust particle in the total cosmos, and each galaxy there are millions of billions of stars, and each star is, maybe they have, the solar system, the Earth is only so small in our Milky Way, and it's amazing to know what is the size of the universe and all that. How did it come? Where did it come? And what is the gigantic of the universe? Is there any intelligence behind this? Because the laws are there, laws governing the universe. The scientists only discovering the laws. You have to use intelligence to find out. And anything that works in the order is what we call an intelligent creation. Anything that ordered behaves a system, a systematic universe is there, and to discover that only we are spending whole our lifetime to find out. And that knowing the universe itself, what is the cause for Brahman and where is that Brahman, all that is part of the avarana, because it's covered. What I'm seeing is only names and forms of the objective world, not even the substantive. And I want to know what is the fundamental material that it came from. And that's not necessarily the material that the atoms that people are looking for. Even that also, how did it come from? What is it made up of? And that's what is the essence of inquiring, and that is what is the first avarana. The second avarana is, even after knowing it, I had to know myself. But scripture says the whole universe is created, and that becomes the fourth stage. The third stage is sokam. Sokam is the starting point, that I am unhappy without knowing all this. The awareness, the not knowing the truth, and I cry because of my attachments, and that's how the Bhagavad Gita Upadesha starts with the Krishna statement on you are crying where there is no reason for you to cry. Because the whole Gita first chapter is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. It's a yoga, even though crying is only what is implied. It is a yoga because it led into the discovery of Arjuna himself as a student and the teacher Krishna, and the teaching started because of the recognition of the problem. And problem is recognized, and the first statement of Krishna is essentially asocyan anvasochatvam prajnamadam sabhashase gadasuna gadasum chana anusochanti panditaha. You are crying where there is no reason for you to cry, because you are giving importance to the name and a form without forgetting the essence. Essence never dies, and the what is name and the form is only changing, and you are putting investment on the name and the form, on the changing things. But what you have to do is invest on the changeless entity which you cannot know or which you cannot see. All that is implied in that. The one who knows the world in essence is essentially a jnani. So in the Brahman means knowing the universe, and no science can teach you that. Every science is only go up to some point, including investigation of the fundamental particles. It's only a matter they are looking at it, but is not the essence is not there, because matter cannot be investigated until the absolute matter is to be known. So in the Mundaka Upanishad, it says Purushaye Vedam Vishwam Karma Tapo Brahma Paramrutam Etad Jo Veda Nihitam Guhayam So Vidyagam Ting Vikarati Hi Somya Vikarati Iha. Soumya means the teacher addressing the student, oh my dear disciple, says Purushaye Vedam Vishwam. So Purushaye Vedam Vishwam, know that the Vishwam, universe itself, is the Brahman. So Brahman Astiva, if there is a universe, there has to be Brahman. How can that be Brahman universe? Because Brahman is pure conscious entity. The whole world is unconscious entity. And so even Vishnu Sahasranama starts with Vishwam. The first name itself is Vishwam. Vishnu, the one who is Vyapakatva, the one who pervades this Vishwam. That means it is the whole universe, but you cannot see, but it which pervades and which is the changeless entity in all the changing things. And that has to be understood. And that is Purusha. That is the one who enlivens the world, and that has to be known as the world. World is only name and a form, but the substantive which you cannot see, and that substantive is nothing but the Brahman only. And Purushaye Vedam Vishwam, and that is Karma Tapo Brahma Paramrutam. That is Brahma, which is Paramrutam, that is indestructible, unchangeable entity in all the changing things. So therefore Ishvara is then that which is this pervades the whole universe, and that which is therefore taking a shelter in the Brahman is much more than taking a shelter in the changing things. So when something is changing, it is undependable, it is unreliable and unpredictable, and therefore the whole Vishwam world is, I am depending on the world for my happiness, and I am depending upon something unpredictable, unchangeable continuously, and that which cannot be really grasped. So I cannot hold on to it because it keeps changing, and only thing that I can hold on permanently is the one which is anchor, and therefore the boat has to be anchored properly, otherwise it will go, every wind will move the boat anywhere. So for its stability it has to be anchored to something that is stable, and what is the stable is that which is achalam, that which is immovable. And that immovable is nothing but that which is pervades the whole universe, at the same time unchanging, and that is Brahman, and that is the substantive in the form of Sat, that is existence itself is pervading the whole universe, and that Purushaye Vedam Vishwam, and that is Karma Tapo Brahma Paramrutam. Through the the karma palam also, or through the tapopalam, that is upasana yoga or karma pala, and this has to be recognized as Brahma Paramritam, that which is Amritam, that is which is unchanging, and this is unchanging or absolutely unchanging entity which pervades everything, and that's what is Brahman, and that is infiniteness. And Etadyo Veda Nihitam Guhaya, that is what is it is there in the cave of your heart. This becomes a second avarana aspect of it that will be discussed in the next. So the first avarana is Brahman astiva nastiva. The first important is Brahman is. So what is the source of knowledge? Only Vedanta is a knowledge, where not only so who I am, I have to understand the Brahman also. So total knowledge should include Brahma Satyam, that is existing, that is the Sat part, and that is the entire universe that supports the whole universe. That is there. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, and whatever I experience, that Jagat, that changing things is only Mithya. There is no substantive of that, of its own. The ring is becoming a bangle, bangle is becoming a necklace. So there is no ring substance, bangle substance, necklace substance, and I am trying to find out what is the cause for the ring. I am trying to break into smaller and particle. I won't discover a ring material. What is there? Only gold only. Same way, gold was there, gold is there, gold will be. Even the ring changes into bangle and changes into necklace. But what is changeless entity is alone, is a real. And for the whole universe, that's only an example. That whole universe, Brahman alone is the changeless entity, and that hold on to him is essentially the safety that you need. Then irrespective of, I can see the beauty of the creation, it is enjoyable, vibhuti I can enjoy, provided I am stable and looking at the universe. The stability comes by holding on to something that is stable, and something that is stable is nothing but Brahman, which is changeless entity. That avarana, and that the Sokam comes because of not knowing it. Arjuna was holding on to the name and the form. These gurus and all that and all relations is only at the name and the form, without knowing the substantive, and that's what his problem. Therefore, na anusochanti panditaha. Now says there is no reason for you to cry, because the panditaha, the one who knows this truth, that was essentially etadyo veda nihitam guhaya. So vidya gandhim vikaratiha saumya. This can be broken. Gandhi means the knots of this, knots of ignorance can be broken iha, right here, not going somewhere or doing something else. It says Iha, the Vedanta says, this is from the Mundaka Upanishad, says that's the Upanishads are all Vedanta, the end part of the Vedas, and it says that you can recognize right here, right now, because that's all it counts, and that can be known, and whoever is known is the one who is that need to be respected, as we'll see later, and he is a Jivan Muktaha. So this, in the stages of evolution, we are talking about Ajnanam, then Avarana. There are two Avaranas. One is Brahma Astiva, Nastiva, that means he is there or not, and the third one is who am I, and what's my relation to the Brahman and the world, Jagat. All that is in the second, and if I don't know it, there's a Sokam comes into picture, and the fourth stage is recognition. Sokam has to lead to the knowledge, and that's how the Arjuna Vishada Yoga start into Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is the second chapter where Gitopadesha starts only after the Sokam, and Sokam is the suffering and recognition of the suffering, and that suffering recognition, and make one to be a disciple. That's more important, because I need to go to a teacher, and Arjuna went right because teacher is right now available. He discovered the teacher in the Krishna, and therefore he says Rahimam Tam Prapannam Sishastvoham Sadhimam Tam Prapannam. Only when the Krishna discovered the discipleship of the Arjuna, the teaching started. Until then, Krishna was only smiling, seeing that you are only crying where there is no reason for you to cry. But the teaching starts only when Arjuna surrendered. The surrenderance is important in the sense that the mind is now conducive to learn from the teacher. Otherwise, the mind is not agitated. Agitated mind cannot learn. Mind should be humble enough for the knowledge to take place, and that is spiritualized. So in the times of fourth stage of the evolution is the knowing about the Brahman, and that's what the whole Vedanta talks about in the Avantara Vakyani. This we will go into the next talk. We will stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Sishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.